everybody. This will be a quick take episode, essentially a quick one regarding the situation in Taiwan, the tensions that have been raised, Nancy Pelosi's visit there on August 3rd. Now, this will be brief. We're going to cover this in larger detail when it'll be as part of a series regarding the state of affairs right now in the world, particularly regarding Russia and China, with regards to the war in Ukraine and the situation over Taiwan and the situation between the United States and China in that regard. And in general, we'll touch on that. So the situation as it stands is on August 3rd, Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan as a message of support for that country, its self-determination, and its democracy. Things which generally the world supports and we support as a nation. Now, it is argued that her visit may have been ill-timed and ill-advised. A number of people, likely within the administration, advised against it. However, she did have bipartisan support in Congress with her colleagues. And one could certainly argue that the power and ability to represent the United States in foreign affairs is held in the executive branch. Despite that, however, she did make the visit on August 3rd. And on August 4th, China did react as, of course, the main point being here is that they did react as a tyrannical nation would, as a predator nation would, by overreaction and bluster. On August 4th, they began live fire drills around Taiwan in the Taiwan Strait, launched a number of missiles, at least one of which went over Japan and into Japan's economic zone. On August 5th, they declared that they were no longer going to talk to the United States in regards to a number of issues, including illegal narcotics and climate change. And those drills have continued. Now, again, as mentioned, one could argue her visit was ill-timed and ill-advised. But she did go with the objective of stating the support of our support of Taiwan's self-determination and their ability to conduct their own affairs and continuing to be a democracy and develop as such. Of course, regardless of what you think of that trip, as I have stated, it is, of course, Taiwan's responsibility, and they hold the accountability for acting as they did in raising tensions, which it inevitably did. They are clearly, the point being that they are reacting as an oppressive nation would, in the way, not just in the way they've reacted, but also in the propaganda that they've fed to their own people regarding these drills. Of course, this dynamic completely changes when you're talking about the approach that we have taken, which has been strategic ambiguity. Now, we haven't formally recognized Taiwan, but we have made commitments to defend the island and to support them and to defend them in case of attack by China. Another way in which we display ambiguity is that China and the rest of the world is not certain about how exactly we would go about defending the island. So that is essentially the strategy that has served us well and has served the region well. And it's something that we may be forced to abandon here in the near future or later down the road. certainly there are some that are arguing that this strategy is already dying, that we may need to dispel some of the ambiguity and be more direct in our approach without, you know, instigating, because China may feel that as time goes on, or they may already feel that they can take the island, that they can be more aggressive in their rhetoric and in their action, and can anticipate that we will not react in defending them, that we may not be reliable as an ally to Taiwan. And as I said, because of that, deterrence comes more into play, where strategic ambiguity may be more and more replaced by deterrence, and trying to show China that we are committed to them, and it is in their best interest to not discontinue the escalation. Now, we may be, as I said, that may be happening already. Strategic ambiguity may be dying at this point, but we don't really know what will happen going forward. So we'll have to see where it goes. Now, that is the situation as it stands, and we will have to see how we proceed from here, what we may choose to do, what we may have to do in order to keep the peace, along with always obviously coupled with keeping the channels open and trying to attempt and maintain, diplomatic channels. So that's where we are at this point, and that sums up the situation. And as I said, we'll be delving deeper into the situation as it stands. An explanation in some of the terms that I've used will go into more of an explanation of that, as well as perhaps maybe a little bit of the history. But we're going to start this series kind of regarding a new era that we may be approaching in regards to how we confront China and Russia, these authoritarian states, and their experiments, if you will, in kind of expanding their territory or threatening to expand their territories, and seeing how we are going to react to that, the decisions that will face us, and how we're going to approach the situation. Certainly, it can be argued that security in countries like Ukraine or Taiwan, which are not the same situation, mind you, we'll go into that as well, and how those affect our security, Europe's security, security in the Pacific as well. So these could be, more and more difficult choices that we'll have to face as things move forward with both of those situations. So I thank you, and I thank you for participating, and we'll see you on another episode.